Hello, and a warm welcome to Reddit Echo.
Every neighborhood has that one house, the one that seems to hold its breath while the rest of the street lives and breathes around it. In my high school years, that house was right next door to my best friend, Mark's place. It wasn't a crumbling mansion or a Victorian nightmare. It was a craftsman-style home, probably built in the 1950s, nestled in an older, respectable part of town. It had a certain quiet dignity to it, with a broad porch and a picture window that should have shown the warm glow of a family inside. But that glow was always absent. This house had a reputation, a quiet mystery that we teenagers relished. It was a revolving door of residence. Families would move in with the usual fanfare of moving trucks and new beginnings, only to vanish, often in the dead of night, without a word of explanation to their neighbors. For a couple of years, no one lasted more than 6 months. The "for sale" sign was a permanent fixture on the lawn, like a tombstone marking a plot that refused to hold its occupants. We'd speculate for hours. Was it bad plumbing? A terrible landlord? Or was it something else? Something that made people pack their lives in a frantic hurry and flee into the darkness? It was this tantalizing, unsolved puzzle that made the house utterly irresistible. One night, during our winter break, the cosmic boredom that only teenagers can truly understand had set in. We'd exhausted all the usual outlets, video games, bad movies, speculating about the universe. We were sitting in Mark's room, looking out his window, and our gaze inevitably fell upon the dark, silent house next door. "It's been empty for a while now," Mark said, his voice casual, but his eyes alight with a familiar mischief. "The new people haven't moved in yet. We should go check it out." The proposition hung in the air. This wasn't just trespassing. It was an initiation into the very mystery we'd been obsessing over. A thrill of fear and excitement shot through me. We were going to solve the riddle of the house that swallowed families. We didn't need flashlights. The street lights and the faint glow of a half-moon provided enough illumination. We slipped out of Mark's house and into the crisp December air, our breath pluming in front of us. The empty house seemed to watch us approach, its windows like dark, unblinking eyes. We went around back, and that's when we found our point of entry, a dog door. It was just big enough for Mark, who was skinnier than me, to squeeze through. I waited in the cold, my heart thumping, until I heard the click of a lock from the inside, and the back door creaked open. Stepping into that house was like stepping into a tomb. The air was still, cold and heavy, with the smell of dust and forgotten lives. The electricity was off, casting everything in deep shadows and sharp slivers of streetlight that cut through the windows. The house was, as I said, utterly unremarkable. It was a time capsule: beige carpets, floral wallpaper that was peeling at the seams, a kitchen with outdated appliances. It wasn't a place of overt horror. It was just empty. Sad, even. But one feature stood out. In the kitchen, built against a large picture window that overlooked the silent backyard, was a beautiful, built-in breakfast nook. A quaint, curved bench with a table, all crafted from warm, dark wood. It was a charming, familial spot that felt profoundly wrong in this context, a heart in a body with no pulse. For reasons I still can't fully explain, we didn't run through the house, whooping and laughing. The atmosphere commanded a strange reverence. We simply sat down on the floor, our backs against a wall, directly across from that breakfast nook. We started talking in hushed tones about nothing in particular: school, girls, our plans for the future. It was as if we were trying to normalize the profoundly abnormal, to fill the oppressive silence with the mundane sounds of our own lives. "What?" I was in the middle of a sentence, my eyes casually scanning the dark shape of the breakfast table, when Mark screamed. It wasn't a yell of surprise. It was a raw, guttural shriek of pure, unadulterated terror. In the exact same instant, my world was extinguished. It wasn't like closing my eyes. It was a void, a perfect, absolute blackness that swallowed all light, all form, all sense of sight. But the blindness was only a part of it. A sickly, profound coldness engulfed my entire body, from the roots of my hair to the tips of my toes. It wasn't the cold of a winter night. It was a deep, soul-sucking chill that felt ancient and wrong. It was palpable, almost sticky, clinging to my skin and seeping into my bones. I was screaming, but I couldn't hear myself. I was flailing my arms, groping in the absolute nothingness, my eyes wide open, yet seeing only an impenetrable void. I was trapped, blind, and freezing, in a pocket of pure dread. Then, I felt a hand clamp around my wrist. Mark's hand. It was warm, a single point of reality in the nightmare. He pulled me with a force born of sheer panic. I stumbled, still blind, my legs like jelly, as he dragged me through the darkness. I felt a rush of cold air, and then my vision began to seep back, like ink slowly diluting in water. The crushing cold started to recede, replaced by the familiar biting chill of a December night. We collapsed on the frosty grass, right under the stark orange glow of the streetlight. I was gasping, my body trembling uncontrollably. I looked at Mark. His face was a mask of pure terror, his eyes wide and fixed on me. What happened? I finally stammered, my voice shaky. Why did you scream? He stared at me, his breath coming in ragged pants. You didn't see it? I shook my head, a fresh wave of fear washing over me. See what? Everything just went black and cold. Mark's voice dropped to a horrified whisper. As you were talking, a black thing, crawled out from under the breakfast table. He described it as a figure, all black, but not a shadow. It was a solid, light-absorbing blackness. It had only the vaguest shape of a girl, but it moved wrong. It didn't walk. It crawled, its limbs contorting in unnatural ways. It moved across the floor, and then, he said, it sat on you. It sat on my chest? I asked, my stomach lurching. No, he said, his eyes even wider. Not on your chest. It enveloped you. It wrapped itself around you like a cloak. And the second it touched you, you stopped talking. Your eyes were wide open, but you were just groping around in the air like you were drowning. I was so freaked out, I just grabbed you and ran. We never went back. Not that night, not ever. The mystery of the house was solved in the most horrifying way possible. We now knew why people fled in the night. They weren't running from bad plumbing. They were running from that. To this day, Mark and I are still close friends. And every now and then, when the conversation turns to the strange and unexplained, one of us will bring up that night. The story never changes. The details remain as sharp and terrifying as they were over a decade ago. The feeling of that blackness, that cold, it's a sensation that has been burned into my soul. I've never felt anything like it since. For days afterward, I couldn't shake a deep, unsettling feeling of being watched, of being touched by something I couldn't see. I could never walk past that house again, without a cold knot tightening in my stomach. It taught me a profound lesson, that there are places in this world that hold onto things. Dark, cold things that don't belong. And sometimes, out of boredom or curiosity, we stumble into their domain. And we are lucky if all we are left with is a story and a chill that never truly goes away.
Don't want to lose this channel and always be up to date with new videos? Then make sure to subscribe. The story continues, and it's only getting more interesting.